The following program is a collection of hooligans engaging in lively conversations about anything and everything that happens to populate in their heads. It is meant to be comedic entertainment. The opinions expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of the hosts, their peers, AIM Student Radio, or the Communication Media Department. P.S. Don't sue us and don't believe anything we say. Good morning and welcome to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh. First of all, happy first day of spring, everyone. Yes, we finally made it. Winter is officially over. Spring is here. And if you look at that weather outside right now, it is the perfect spring weather. And actually, let me go ahead and get a quick check of your weather here right now for you on this lovely Tuesday. This weather, I need it to be a little warmer, but this is a good start. Like, I can wear just a thin jacket and a t-shirt and jeans, and I'm fine, and I love this. But let's go ahead and get a quick check here of your weather. Currently in Fort Lupton, it is currently 50 degrees, a high of 65, a low of 31. Sunny skies, wind gusts of up to 3 miles per hour. Currently in Loveland, we are looking at 57 degrees with a high of 64, a low of 34, sunny skies, wind gusts of up to 2 miles per hour. Currently in Windsor, we are looking at 48 degrees with a high of 65, a low of 33, sunny skies, wind gusts of a whopping 1 mile per hour. And currently on the home campus of Greeley, it is 56 degrees, a high of 66, a low of 31, sunny skies, wind gusts of a whopping 1 mile per hour. Also today, we have quite an awesome event going on campus. It's actually about to start in about half an hour. This is Dog and Sip with lunch. Come pet, play, and recharge. Meet therapy dogs, get some goodies, and grab some pizza with the care team here in Student Commons 114 here on the Greeley campus. That should be awesome. I mean, who doesn't want to pet a dog? Also, therapy dogs. They are quite awesome. Actually, there will be times on occasion that they will have them come onto campus, especially later on in the afternoons, to kind of get acquainted to people. I've seen them before, so this is going to be kind of a bigger event, and I'm honestly really happy about it. I'm really happy that our campus does events like this, and honestly, it couldn't have come at a better time, especially if you ask me. People are going to wonder, why, Josh? You're normally this happy, cheery guy, and yeah, normally I am. Obviously, this is the first week back from spring break, and spring break, I'll just say it was not how I thought it was going to go, but it was not the best spring break, I'll say that. So I hadn't really mentioned it on the show just because really we didn't know which way things were going to go, but now we know. My godmother had been ill for quite some time. She had been dealing with health issues. She was a little bit older, but let me just go ahead and introduce the role that she played here in my life. So when my mother was pregnant with me, my godmother was the one who took her in when my mom came from Mexico here to the U.S., and took her in while my dad was searching for a place to live, and that place ended up being right here in Greeley. So she had been a very big part of my life, even, I guess you could say, even before I was born. And she had always been there for me, both her and my godfather, both, always calling on birthdays, always, when my godmother was a little bit younger and they could move around a little bit more, little gifts for Christmas, but always so full of life, so full of happiness and inspiration. She was an extremely strong woman. I don't think I ever saw her frown, or if I did, it was very rarely, but she always just had this spirit to get up and to keep going regardless of whatever was in the path. About a month ago, she was going in for some surgeries in Denver, and we went to go see her, and at that time she was still in very, very good spirits, still her normal sassy self. And at the time we didn't really think anything of it. We thought, okay, this is kind of a big surgery, but she'll make it through. But then as we ended up finding out, first, we did end up finding out she did have cancer, but it was non-benign. It wasn't doing anything. It was just there. Okay. We thought, well, it's not really doing anything. Okay. And then afterwards, we did end up finding out that her kidneys had failed. We had heard that she had had issues with this for quite some time. And it got to a point over the last couple of weeks where dialysis wasn't doing anything anymore, and about to be 2 Fridays ago, they took her to home hospice. That was her choice. She said, if I'm going at home. Okay. We went on, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before. So right, the weekend before spring break, we went to go see her. It was the first time that really my whole family had been together since before the pandemic. We had all kind of seen each other, but not the whole family in one spot all at the same time, which, pandemic, life, all of our schedules, everything. We left Denver. We left the house at about 7 p.m. on that Sunday. And at 1:30 in the morning, the Monday of spring break, we got the call that she had passed. And so if anything, it felt more like she was just waiting to see all of us one last time before she went. And naturally, this week of spring break, obviously it was not how I thought it was going to go. It was, quite a shock to the system, especially, having her there my whole life. But in her spirit, we have to keep going. We have to keep moving on. For me, continuing to push forward and keep going, because I am here. Like I said, this show is meant to be an escape from all the chaos of the world, including my own sometimes. And in her spirit, in her honor, we will continue to keep going. We are here. Dax and Kion are on the way. We are here to provide you with as entertaining a show as we possibly can. That is the best way that I can honor her legacy. She kept going all the way until the end, and so will I. That is how I honor her legacy. She was not the type to lay down and go out like that. No, she was going right up until the end. And even then, on her last day, she was going. She went until the final bell. That's just how we're wired. It is literally in my DNA. It's more confirmed than ever now. My grandmother on my dad's side went the same way. My grandfather, it went the same way. We are a hard group to take down. It is more and more confirmed. So it's really, I feel that it's more on my shoulders now that I have to honor that legacy and keep going. Because, it's literally in my blood. I don't really know what else to say other than, I miss you. I love you. And we're going to keep fighting. That's how you taught us, and that's how we will honor you. And we will let it get back to the music here. Sorry, y'all, to start the show on kind of a funky note. But like I said, Dax and Kion will be here momentarily. We're going to have a fun show, a great show here for you. We will continue to move forward. And yes, the challenge continues. Dax and Kion did not make it here before the show starting, so the tradition continues. We will be playing Taylor Swift until Dax and Kion show up. So we'll see how long this goes. So up next, we got Blank Space. Enjoy, folks. And also, just before I let the music go here, if you got loved ones, just hold them tight, because you truly never know. And that's all I can say. But here we go. Blank Space by Taylor Swift. Enjoy. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, here now joined by Dax and Kion.
Hello.
Hi.
We are back.
And
we are all the way
fire.
back. Yeah.
I might be on fire a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, Dax might be a little bit on fire.
That's
Well,
normal for me, though.
You don't seem to be on fire.
Or is
Don't
it
gaslight
invisible
me.
fire?
Oh.
Is it infrared fire?
Is it like an internal flame?
Yeah.
Are you a kiln? Like
Yeah.
Yeah. Pizza
Yeah.
oven.
I'm a pizza oven. I have a fire in my belly.
I was going to say, speaking of pizza, at that Dog and Sip event, they're actually going to have pizza. Also
yeah.
I
pizza.
do like pizza.
Yes.
I am very eager to go to this Dog and Sip because I know all of those therapy dogs and I love them.
Yeah.
They're all those little golden retrievers that you see around town.
That's going to be
and
awesome.
They used to come to the facility that I worked at.
I think I've seen one of them before. He was a big boy. He was also a retriever, but he was like a blonde one, so he was like all white.
They're almost all retrievers, almost all of them for that particular company.
Okay.
And the one that I knew was named Devora.
The one that I am
Someone's a
thinking of
Mortal
is named
Kombat fan.
Zeus. Oh, is that
That's the name of one
is
of the
that
characters.
the bug lady?
Yes.
Yeah.
So right when Dax said Devora, I was like, aha.
I didn't play much Mortal Kombat. My only experience with it is I went to one of my friend's house and I tried playing it, and I
okay.
just smashed X to my little heart's content.
You just button mash.
Yes.
There you
and
go.
that was my experience. So
No, I mean, hey, if it works, it works. I was gonna say
it didn't.
Oddly enough, all of last week, I think that was the first week that I went the entire week without playing any sort of like fighting game.
Interesting.
Like I either played Helldivers or the Star Wars
Okay.
Battlefront remasters.
Helldiver, those are still both combat based.
Well, they're shooting games rather
Yeah,
than like
they're
actual
still
fighting, like
FPS.
Mortal Kombat or Tekken.
Yeah. They're still like FPS though.
Yeah. Well, Battlefront, actually, Helldivers is third person.
Okay.
Battlefront, you can toggle between there or third person.
Okay.
I just prefer to stick to third person for that one, because playing that one in first person always feels weird, because when I played them on the PS2, I never really tried to do the first person, so I'm just so used to the third person for Battlefront, and I'm just gonna keep it that way.
I used to be an avid first person only
Yeah.
for games. Granted, I didn't play many, shooty bang bang games.
Yeah.
But Dax was in physical pain from me saying that. I saw that as you were taking a sip of your drink.
I saw that.
But
Congratulations, Josh. You saw it.
I did
You're
see it.
copying the things that Kion says.
however,
No, probably I am.
after playing Red Dead, I learned I have to, for if it's
Mm.
anything where I'm aiming anything,
Yeah.
I have to. With the exception being Skyrim. Skyrim,
Okay.
you play first person. So that's the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, because I was either playing those or I was playing Formula One, and I don't like doing the cockpit view. I always have like the chase view, because I always like decorate and customize whatever car I'm driving in the game, and I'm like,
Okay,
I want
yeah.
to see the car, so I always have the camera like pointed out so I can see the car and the track.
yeah. Actually, now that I'm thinking harder about it, technically speaking, the first game that I got used to third person on was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because there wasn't a first person option. And so I had to get used to it there.
Yeah.
I had to acclimate, and then I realized it was so much easier. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, they're fun games. They really are. And holy smokes, the Celsius is kicking in, which is good. I'm like, yes, I needed that.
I thought you meant just like the temperature.
No, the
yes.
energy drink. It's literally an energy drink called Celsius.
Yes, the Fahrenheit is warm out.
Well, I mean,
yes.
it is warm. It's the first day of spring.
We learned that in the coffee drive-thru today. Yes.
Ooh.
I'm not a fan. We didn't have winter. Where was winter?
I know.
Last week we had a blizzard.
Okay.
Here, but everywhere else in the state got a blizzard except for us.
I was in the mountains when that right before that started. It started snowing on our way down. Anyway, it was not winter.
Yeah.
It dumping 1.5 feet in one day and then going away 2 days later, that's not winter.
It was melted by the next day, next morning.
Where was
Saturday
my winter?
Yeah, I was gonna say Saturday I was downtown and it was so weird. I'm like, you wouldn't be able to tell that 2 days ago it was, cold and accident alerts everywhere and all that. It's like you can't tell, not even the big piles of snow when they plow everything, even those are gone. I was like, wow, that was
Listen, don't get me wrong, I like being able to go around on my stupid little tricycle when and I can't do that when there's snow, and I like being outside and all of that, but I am rather concerned by the fact that it is now spring and we've gotten not that much snow. And we were supposed to have a ton of snow because,
everywhere else in the state got buried. Because I was seeing things even on the eastern side of the state where they're like, oh, I-70 shut down, or even parts of Highway 85 and other parts of the state were shut down. And I'm like, over here, we're okay. It was so unusual because I would get when calls were coming in at work, people would be like, oh, has the power gone out where you live? And I'm like, we got 1.5 inches right now. I think we're fine.
Yeah,
we're chilling.
We're just it's we're just vibing out here. And I was at first I was worried because I thought, oh man, I'm gonna have to dig my car out of this. And no, it was warm enough the next day, and then since my car is black, that just the heat just melted all of it off. I'm like, I didn't even have to touch my car. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm glad that we got what we did. And when it did snow, it snowed.
Yeah.
That will kind of make up for the lack of moisture that we're getting here. If trying to get it in one go, more like.
Yeah.
But it's just,
the problem is that a lot of those spring flowers that everybody really likes in Colorado, they need that, especially in the meadows, they need that snow cover over the winter that slowly melts.
Right.
That freezes the ground and slowly melts to give us those spring flowers. That's where they thrive.
I don't remember why, but doesn't it have to do with the health of the soil? The soil holds moisture differently if it is frozen longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it changes we had a more windy winter, and so a lot of those places there's been a lot more erosion than usual because the ground wasn't frozen for as long, and that causes some issues. That causes some ecological issues.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I did notice that the river over in the Pooter is fairly high, so at least we're not in a full drought, but it's still rough, but still.
Yeah, it's still for me it's just so bizarre because you look at here in town it's perfectly clean, and then you just look at the mountains and it's they're buried still out there. I was looking at pictures on Thursday of all the snow that Estes Park got, and they got covered. Meanwhile over here we're nothing. Over there they were shutting down all the shops and everything, and here we're
some of the ski resorts had to shut down because there was too much snow.
Dang.
None of that hit us. And
Nope.
I was going to say, given the type of equipment that they have out there, it's bad when they have to shut down because of
4
too
feet
much snow.
within 48 hours.
Ooh,
what is
that's bad.
particular obviously that's a lot of snow, right? And it's weird that we didn't get any when it snowed that much there. But what's even weirder is when it snows let's say 4 or 6 inches, something like that, in Fort Collins, and then we get nothing. I think that's even weirder when it's more close by and we don't get anything.
Or what was it like earlier in the year where they goofed up, at least here in town, because they said, oh, you guys are going to get 3 to 4 inches, and no one thought anything of it, and then we got like 13.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, it melted quick, but still, it was like, y'all messed up.
Fort Collins got nothing. And then this most recent storm that we had, we got a decent amount of snow here, but it was mostly like the light and wet stuff.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't really sticking to the road. It stayed around a little longer in Fort Collins.
Yeah.
It was gone, like, I think 3 or 4 days later, but they got more. So yeah.
Over here on Thursday, because they're building a hotel like right across, like right down the street from where I live. On Thursday they weren't working because snow, but Thursday they were back. It was like, wow, it's because it was just melting off so quick. They were like, yep, here we go.
Do you mean Friday?
What was that?
Do you mean Friday? You said Thursday.
That day.
Yeah.
All the days.
The day
all
after.
the days last week were a blur.
I honestly am here for that. Like, well, not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I am convinced that today is like Thursday of next week. Like, I think I skipped last week, and that may or may not have to do with the fact that I am so very sleep deprived. But anyway.
Yeah, and I was going to say last week with a lot of other stuff going on, all the days just kind of felt like a blur. Really, the only days I knew that it was a specific day of the week was literally because of what was on TV. Like, the wrestling show that I watch is on Wednesdays, so that's when I knew. I'm like, oh, it's Wednesday. This is on TV. Okay.
Yeah, at work I got confused because I was like, where's this coworker? They should be here. And then I'm like, no, never mind. It's not Wednesday
their
anymore.
day.
It is no longer Wednesday. They do not work today. Got it.
Yes. So right now I'm spying and also thank you, Dax, for the drink. So
yeah.
I was gonna say, what did you bring? Because that drink looks unfamiliar.
It's a blackberry iced tea.
Oh, okay.
And then I have pure sugar with a hint of decaf, because I have learned that coffee is ruining me. So, yeah, I have. It's finally clicked in my little goblin brain that caffeine is not it for me. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Took him long enough.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna say, then there's me.
The problem is I really, really, really like coffee, and for so long I was like very against ordering decaf, because it's like when you go to a restaurant, please tell me I'm not the only one who feels so self-conscious when you are the only one who is ordering decaf at a table of people ordering normal coffee. Like, is that not humiliating? Like, or am I just anxious?
No, it happens.
You're just anxious.
Oh.
It does happen. Or it'll be like an example that I like to use. It's like if you're with a group of people and everyone orders, like a huge meal. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to get this salad and a diet soda.
Right.
And you're like, everyone's just like, what?
Everyone eyes you like, oh, are you trying to lose weight? And it's like, I don't want to start a conversation about this. Just,
Yeah.
And like the waitress looks at you like, ugh, you're making me do something different.
Yeah.
I have to start a different pot of coffee for you.
Yeah.
And my parents are the ones that brought me, so they probably don't even tip very good. And
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, or no, the funny part always for me is like, or when we bumped into each other at Nordy's.
Yeah.
In the case of like my mom, for example, how she was like, oh, I'll get a pina colada, and then she only drinks like a quarter of it, and it's like, mother, you remember how much alcohol is in a pina colada, right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, you guys finished it. And it's like, me and the rest of me, my dad and my brother, we're all just drinking beers.
Yeah.
And my mom's there. And it's just, and she's like, well, that's why I have you guys. And it's like, mother, your drink costs the same as like these 3 beers.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
But although full disclosure, I am underage and have not tried most things.
Yeah.
However, I'm pretty sure that beer is like the boring answer. Like, I am almost certain that it's not as exciting as most of like the cocktails and whatnot. So I understand why it's more expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, but
it's like
it's
getting a
always
black
just,
coffee versus like a latte. You
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah, no, for me it's always just like kind of like the humor, because kind of the running joke if we ever go anywhere to eat is that usually we end up finishing whatever my mom ordered. So it's always like, oh, or last week we went to Waffle House. And yes, we asked for waffles.
of course.
But
Why would you go to Waffle House?
cuz Waffle House.
No, I understand that. Sometimes you just gotta go to Waffle House.
You just
man.
gotta go to
I've
Waffle
never
House.
been to Waffle House.
What?
I have never been to Waffle House.
We need to fix that before you go to Europe, or you're
Nope.
not a real American.
I refuse to go to Waffle House.
But Waffle House.
I feel like I'm going to get hepatitis
Why is my
eating
skin loose? Sorry,
Oh.
I just
But Waffle House.
um.
So hepatitis and Waffle House. Got it.
it. Yeah, like I'm terrified that like something bad is going to happen. Like
I've gotten sick more times at Village Inn and IHOP and all of those, and Perkins when it was still around.
Oh, Perkins.
Perkins.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, that was a place.
That
I
was
remember that.
Yeah.
place was so awful.
Honest, it was good. I remember it being good when I was really little, but however, my level of good was, will they give me chocolate chip pancakes? So, that being said,
Or it was kind
I
of
come
like
from a town that only had Village Inn.
yeah,
I was gonna say
I got food poisoning.
still
at Village Inn
remember,
so many
like,
times.
I still remember back then, like when I was younger, Golden Corral definitely was better. Like the last few years it was there
Yeah.
before it shut down. That was
rough.
ooh. I mean, it was like
I don't
if you
like
wanted to
buffets.
fill up, it was good. But after that, it was like, oh no.
No, it might have cut out. Well, but Dax, you were saying that you did not like buffets.
I hate buffets.
Yeah,
I don't trust them. Other people's grubby hands getting all up in the food.
I don't really trust. Okay, it's not that I distrust buffets. It's more like when I think of them, I think of like how easy it is just to make a bunch of really not very good food, and then you leave it out. Like it's sometimes good. Like I've been to
Yeah.
a few good buffets. Like I think it was my mom brought me to one of the casinos once.
Yeah.
And I went to one of those buffets. That's good.
Yeah. Or go ahead.
Golden Corral. No. So,
Yeah, no. Golden Corral is. I want to eat a ton of steak, even though it's not the best quality steak. But I
Yeah.
just want to eat a lot of steak.
Yeah.
Which is why I loved it, because it was just like, oh, I pay, and at that time, $12, which in today's money, that's great.
Right.
It's like, oh, I get to pay $12, but if I want to eat, a pound of steak, I will eat
Yeah.
a pound of steak.
That is the main benefit, honestly.
yeah,
Like,
that was
The only good thing
that was
about
my
Golden
thing.
Corral is the dessert table.
That's also true.
Yeah.
That was also true of oh no, I can't remember the name. The Italian buffet.
Cinzetti's.
Yes. I almost always try to call it Cincinnati's. That's not right.
Cinzetti's.
Yes.
Cincinnati's.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's another example that was like, they used to be really freaking good. I am like 75% sure that they like just make like box pizzas at this point. Like
Yeah, I
it's-
wouldn't be surprised.
But the dessert, top notch. Top notch. They have such good ice cream and goody good food.
Goody good food?
Goody good food.
Goody good food.
That's what I said.
Hey, we should go see the dogs.
Yeah. So we will be back in a little bit. We will go and get the... Let's go ahead and take a look here. We will go ahead and go back to the music. We are going to go check out some therapy dogs. Enjoy. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, here with here with Dax
Yes.
and Kion.
What a
Hello.
fascinating statement from Josh.
I
I'm
know.
eating pizza.
Yeah.
Yes, so we just got back from the Dog and Sip event, still going on until 1 in the Student Commons 114 here on the Greeley campus. They have donuts, they have pizza, they have care bags, they have therapy dogs.
And I met one of the dogs. He was very good. He was a little bit excited to be here, and he was doing his best. and
He's the new one.
and
So,
we love him.
They used to have Cubby, and Cubby passed away.
Oh,
I know. Cubby was my favorite. But now they have Zachorias
yeah.
and Devora.
I
Yeah.
did see Devora.
Hold on, I feel like Devora has an original source name.
I
Hold
looked it
on.
up. No.
No, interesting.
It's like Mortal Kombat. It
Thank
must
you.
just
be.
Mortal Kombat.
It must be. I thought it was a biblical character. It's not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That does
it seems like
sound-
it would have like a biblical reference to it.
and it does sound like it would be some mythical kind of thing, because like, what was his again? Zacharias says there's something like that. I don't know for sure if it is related, but it sounds a little bit like a few of Greek
Yeah.
figures that I know of. I'm not going to say any of them because I can't pronounce them, and I'm not sure if it's correct. But, like, I was kind of wondering if they were sticking to a theme there or
worked.
not. But, yeah. Interesting.
I just used a screwdriver to open up a pack of Tylenol.
The peak of adulthood. Tool use to take substances to ease the pain. Like Tylenol.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you
And
know,
pizza.
'cause- Yeah.
Yes.
I
My
was gonna
favorite
say,
substance is pizza.
Let's see. So far this morning, let's see. Energy drink, pizza, donuts, and Tylenol. Perfectly balanced nutrition.
Yeah, that sounds healthy. I'm sure
Yeah.
your doctor will approve of that. Yeah. Right.
Yesterday, my blood sugar was 60.
After you had a food.
I'm not diabetic.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pizza's my favorite substance.
Mm-hmm.
I love pizza.
I know. I feel like I need to constantly eat or I'm terrified I'll die.
I mean, I eat a lot, but that's because my metabolism's like an F1 engine. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's because you work out like every day.
Guilty as charged.
My
Okay.
job is just super active.
Hold on. This is a conversation I will try to start, but I don't really know how to carry. I do not understand how to not be very bored while working out. Like, in the past, I have tried to do, nothing crazy, literally just like wake up and do a couple of sit-ups, that kind of thing, just so I'm like, I get up and do something to, get me going, right? PE classes, stuff like that. And never once have I ever thought to myself, I'm going to choose to do this every day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand where the appeal is, honestly.
Well, like for me, a lot of it is kind of health based because I do eat a ton, and if I don't work out to try to burn that off,
Right.
I'm going to be a very big boy very fast.
Right.
So
But
a lot. Or go ahead.
more than that, though, is like I was rather inclined to be more healthy, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's not necessarily that I didn't want to work out. It would be that I would get so bored that I didn't want to keep working out because it felt like a waste of time. So
yeah, working out is not fun for like the average person who can't just do things.
yeah.
AKA, you have ADHD and working out will never be fun for you. You need to have a reason to.
Yeah.
You're the kind of person that needs to join like the Ames intramural teams or something to work out.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Recently, I found that the only times I am ever really interested to go on my bike is if I am actively avoiding doing homework. So
Yeah, like for me, what helps is since I pretty much just do a lot of cardio, is the TVs are right by the treadmills. So me, I'm always by the one that's always showing ESPN, which also sounds very like stereotypically me.
yeah,
And it's like, yeah, of course he's by the one showing ESPN all day. It's like, yeah, dude, I'm getting caught up on all my sports stuff.
there you go.
Yeah.
So like you'll be watching something as you're running then.
Yeah,
Okay.
because if I just sit there and look at the time, because I always go for an hour, it's like if I just sit there and look at the clock, I'm going to die of boredom.
Yeah.
But it's like, nope, I'm going to
yeah,
watch E ESPN.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The other here's another thing. Does it ever feel good to run? Like, is it a good feeling when you work out?
Yes and no. Like, I would say no in the sense that I finish a workout and my body is like God help your soul, go to sleep right now. Like, lay down in a corner somewhere because you are exhausted.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, my mind feels better because it's like, okay, you know, you got your blood cells moving, you got your heart is now, you know, a smidgen stronger because you did this. It's like, okay, you're on a good path. So it's kind of like a weird juxtaposition because my brain is like, no, you needed this, whereas my body is like, stop right now, your body hurts.
Okay, so do you think that brain feeling is more psychological than anything, of like, yeah, I worked out, I'm staying healthy, more than just like from the workout?
I mean, it probably could just be just the rush of endorphins, you know, but
interesting.
Like for me, at least for my brain, it's just like, oh, okay, I got it done, because I know that even on days that I'm like, okay, I don't feel like going in today. Yeah. I am like, my brain is kicking itself. It's like, you could have gone.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like it gives you dopamine and such to work out. Like,
that too.
Like your brain automatically produces that.
My grimace is not necessarily to say I don't believe you. It's just that I don't think I do that.
I don't. My brain doesn't do that.
I don't know. I don't know if my brain thinks I'm being chased by a wild animal at all times. And so when I start running, it's just like, oh, good, you get to feel worse now. So yeah.
No, that one does make sense, because it is. And really, like, other people have to find different ways to work out. Like, I have friends of mine that they won't set foot in a gym or work out at home to save their lives.
Yeah.
But if someone asks them, hey, you want to go hike 12 miles? They're there.
See, I feel like I could do that kind of exercise.
Yeah.
Especially because, you know, if you go on a hike, you can go through, like, the woods and whatnot.
Yeah.
At least then I am preoccupied with going out and seeing things.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in a whole lot of ouch. My legs don't like working, and they will protest quite a lot.
Yeah.
But I will feel good about being outside. So, but like the problem is as stated previously, I do not own a real car. I only have my bike.
Yeah.
And so I can't really like bike to where there is really good trails or anything like that. Like I'm in the middle of a suburban area. There's nothing near me. There's nowhere nice to walk or be, you know. So
I was going to say, a record is broken. For the longest time, I thought I was the only one in here who ever actually looked for clothes and shoes on their phone. And finally, I'm not the only one.
I am ordering new work shoes because the pair that I have right now is slightly too small for me and is forcing my toes to be in pain.
Ow.
So,
hey guys.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we've talked about this on air at all. But you know how you keep yelling at me that I need to not buy cheap work shoes from Big Five?
Yeah.
My cheap work shoes from Big Five are falling apart, and I might have to buy Docs.
Oh my gosh.
They have sales right now on their website.
Oh, don't.
I'm not saying that as the person who has bought in 3 pairs of Docs since they got their tax refund.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh no.
Oh
yes. I bought more earbuds this
If someone
week.
can afford Docs in this group, it is you.
Oh, well, let's.
Don't get me with that.
Listen, man. I am being financially smart by trying to save my money, okay?
Well, see, you're making a good investment. You're making a good investment in solid footwear that will keep your little feetsies safe,
yes,
and
that's
cushioned
true.
and protected.
That is true.
So, yes, you are saving money in the long run.
Sure.
So, yes.
But consider that to buy the shoes, I have to spend money.
Yes.
And spending money is scary.
Yeah. I was gonna say, think about who you're talking to right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I just don't have much practical financial experience. Like, I really have not had to deal with many of my own actual expenses, and so doing.
I was gonna say, I've had to deal with mine even before I turned 18. So
me too.
So at that point, like, I learned from a long time ago that, especially when it comes to feet, because I do not have the best feet, as many people can attest. I learned a long time ago that I'd rather spend more to get really good quality stuff for my feet that actually helps, rather than being like, oh, I'll just get these, cheap pairs, it's like, sure, you save money initially, but in the long run, that's just going to screw me up more. And then that means going to the doctor, and that costs mucho money.
The problem is I've tried to get nicer shoes in the past to help, but like I always felt that they still got worn down in about the same time anyway. And so I just went back to getting whatever stuff. Mm-hmm. But then I realized, no, they don't actually fall apart any faster or slower. I just hit the point where I'm done tolerating them at a certain point. Yeah. And that's about the same. So it's my threshold for, I guess I should get new shoes now. It's been long enough. I can justify it now. So
yeah, well, your current ones are falling apart. We are going to buy you a pair of Docs.
Hold on. Let me show you the bottom of this shoe really quick.
Oh, dear.
Okay. So see these bumps on here on the bottom of my shoe? They are folding down into the base of the shoe. They're coming off.
Your shoes are more bald than me.
Yes. So these are peeling off. So the bottom of my shoe, all of like, I don't know what that's called. Is that foam? What is that?
The rubber sole.
Yeah, the rubber sole is like wearing away to the cardboard underneath. So,
Dax, you have my permission to yell at Kion about this.
I don't need your permission to do anything, Josh.
And they will yell at me anyway.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You've never ridden in the car with us.
Can I drive your car?
No.
But your car's cool.
I don't trust other people with my car. It's my baby.
And we'd have to clear out the back seat for me to be in there, and that's a lot of work.
But I was going to say, but I can drive really good.
So I don't believe that. Yesterday somebody hit my brother's truck.
See, here's the thing. You could possibly maybe be a good driver. That goes out the window if you were driving Dax's car, because you are now entering the world of Dax's Murphy Law. Murphy's Law being the fact that if anything will go wrong, it will. And Dax's version is essentially that, like, if it can go wrong, it will eventually, but when you least expect it, and in such a way that it feels like everything is happening all at once after weeks of nothing happening at all. So
I have really bad luck.
Tremendously so.
Like the worst bad luck.
Yeah. This Dax
I still say that maybe with my driving experience we can counteract the bad luck.
Nope.
No.
No? Okay.
We got stuck in a 7-hour blizzard once. It was actually closer to 9 because it took us like 9 hours to get there in total, right? It added 7 hours to our drive, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be
I don't know. It was way too long though. We got stuck before the Eisenhower because of a snowstorm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst spots to be in.
It was supposed to be like a 2.5 hour drive.
And it was like 7 hours.
7+ hour drive, yeah.
Ooh.
It was awful.
Yeah.
It was and yeah.
Things just happen around Dax.
Yeah. Unfortunately I just have tracked things.
Dax is just unfortunately really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is very unfortunate. I have a quote of Murphy's Law from a friend that I went to high school with. Shout out to Walker. Miss you, dude. I can never remember what Murphy's Law actually is because this is what Walker said it was. Murphy's Law. Man cannot be created nor destroyed.
That's not right.
I know.
That's not correct, Walker.
This was in the same class that we figured out that he's colorblind.
Oh.
17 years old, he had no idea he was colorblind. His mom is colorblind. It chills on the X chromosome. If your mother is colorblind and you are born a boy, you are going to be colorblind.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yes.
I was going to say, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Huh.
So if you have XY chromosomes and your mom is colorblind, because you have to have the double recessive in order to be colorblind.
Oh, I see.
As a woman. So both parents have to be carrying the gene. Which means that your dad has to. Yeah, so your dad has to be colorblind and your mom has to carry it.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Gotcha.
I was thinking of a Punnett square, but then I remembered. I'm like, no, I sucked at these in high school.
I'm so good at biology.
I was good at the basic Punnett squares. That's basic.
Yeah.
I can do that. As soon as you get to more complex things, I would whoosh. That's the sound of it going over my head.
I was going to say the most advanced class, like science class I ever took in high school was chemistry. And I somehow got a C.
Chemistry.
And I somehow got a C, and I'll be honest,
Who
don't
was your
really
teacher?
remember. It was Petralia.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think I was one of the last classes he did before he retired.
I was gonna say Stump was the chemistry teacher after.
Okay, yeah, no, that was after then. Because
Yeah.
I think Petralia did like 1 or 2 more
didn't
years
go
after
to
I graduated, and
West.
then he retired.
Yeah. Sadness that you never had Mr. Cherry.
Nope, never had Cherry.
I love being from university and not knowing a single teacher you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
I was going to say,
Imagine.
Kion, I'm looking at your shirt, and it is very like 90s bowling alley carpet.
Yeah,
that is
that's the
exactly
point.
what it is meant to be.
Yes.
Correct.
And I'm mushrooms. I've got my button up on too.
I was going to
Yes.
say, Kion has the bowling alley carpet, Dax has mushrooms.
You were wearing My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna eat more pizza.
Yeah. We should let them listen to some music.
Yeah, we should
I
let
can
them
eat my
listen to some
pizza.
We've been
music.
rambling for like 15 minutes about God knows what.
True.
Yeah, I already forgot. Who knows?
True.
Yeah.
And we will let it go back to the music with Stressed Out by 21 Pilots. Enjoy. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. Somebody's phone is going a
That's
beepity
me.
beep.
I am trying to turn it off. That would be my friend Jack trying to send me every TikTok at the same time. I am attempting to silence
no.
it. Okay.
Jack, what are you
Thanks,
doing? Thank you, but thank you for the entertainment. But
Yes.
I just totally noticed on Dax's mic stand, the Care,
The doggy.
the
Put
doggy
the
is
dog
on
my
there.
microphone.
Yes,
Yay.
as part of the event going on in the student commons, there is some therapy dogs over there.
Yes.
There's some snacks, there's some donuts, there's some drinky drinks.
There are some drinky drinks. There are
And
some very delicious drinky drinks.
They have like a little gift bag. It's got the essentials.
It's like a care bag, isn't it?
Yeah, so they've got
It's
some
got, like-
information about who they are, the company that has the dogs, some business cards for their different dogs, and then other information for contact, and then they give you a little puppy dog,
A little stuffed doggy
a
dog.
little stuffed puppy dog.
Little stuffed puppet dog.
Yes.
Yes, but I know I mentioned it earlier on the show before y'all came in that it is actually really cool of Ames to kind of do that.
Yeah.
Kind of like have those, or at least be like a place to showcase that to the community,
Right.
which is really cool. I was going to say, y'all do anything fun for St. Patrick's?
I don't do anything fun ever. But what was not bad is we tried to go to breakfast the day after.
Oopsie.
And that was not great because that was Sunday morning.
Sunday morning was St. Patrick's Day.
Sunday was St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was?
Saturday were all the festivities downtown, and Sunday was actually St. Patrick's Day.
Okay. Well, then I guess that was St. Patrick's Day itself then. But I guess everyone did their activities the day before.
Me.
Because everyone decided they wanted to go to the Out of the Blue and get the Hangover Burger. So,
Oh, there
Yeah.
you go.
yeah. It was very full in there, so.
Yeah, no, I definitely had a burrito Sunday morning because Saturday, whoa, that was. So here's where I goofed.
Uh-huh.
So all of the green beers that they were doing downtown were $5, which isn't bad. But then I got to Luna's and I found out that their green beer was actually Modelo.
Uh-oh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then like some of the margs were like $6. So I mean, yeah, that connect dots.
Yeah. Again, like I said before, I don't drink. I'm underage. I don't really see the appeal in like, let's go downtown and get cheap beer. Like, and first of all, that's not really that cheap. Like my coffee here is about the same amount, and it's like that's money.
So, you want to hear about some real partying that happened on St. Patrick's Day?
Yes.
Let's talk about Cal Poly.
Oh
So,
yeah.
have you heard about this, Josh?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so, Cal Poly is like I think it's in St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Don't be French.
Hold on.
It's not allowed here.
Merci.
Anyway, yeah, St. Louis. So basically, this is it's like a kind of a notorious party school.
Okay.
They usually have pretty crazy St. Patrick's Day festivities, and there was on and off campus destruction.
Oh.
Of massive amounts.
Oopsie.
6,000 to 7,000 party goers. This is according to KSBY. Yeah.
That's a lot of party goers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they caused property damage enough to cut power in some people's houses. They caused, I think, $20,000 worth of damage on some of the dorms.
Oh no.
And I saw a few pictures of that. It was things like they damaged like the fluorescent lights in the hallways,
Yeah.
and like ceiling panels,
Oh jeez.
door frames. So like they were basically
Just go to-
causing.
There's a picture of the party goers.
That's a lot
Yeah.
of people.
And then let me see if I can find a picture of all the damage.
Yeah, the
Oh,
one that I
gosh.
saw, there was like literally like a light like hanging out of the ceiling.
Oh, that is a collapse waiting to happen.
So they
Yeah.
are getting on the roof of buildings.
Honestly, I
Jeez.
think it's going to be more
Damaging
than
cars.
20,000.
That's just in one of the dorm buildings.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Lord.
But yeah, it's
quite a place.
excessive.
That is. I mean, there's partying, but that's when you get to the point that it goes from a party to
A
let's
riot.
destroy things. Then that's
Yeah.
a different thing.
What is the appeal in breaking things? What?
I mean, how do I say this?
I feel like this episode is me being like, why do people do that?
Yeah. Or like, have you ever seen, I don't know if we have any of them here in town, but like, what do they call them? Like bash rooms
Oh,
or
the
whatever.
rage rooms.
Yeah. Like those to me make sense. If you're
Yeah.
stressed out and there's, that you can go to a place and be like, I'm going to, break stuff in this room.
Yeah.
In,
It's
until
a controlled environment.
Yeah, like
you're being
that's
told to go there.
Yeah. Or
And-
even like the Hatchet House. It's like, I'm really mad. I
Yeah.
want to, throw something and cause something to go.
Yeah.
Bang.
And I can kind of see that for like working out. I'm going to go hit a punching bag.
Yeah.
But like what makes people want to take out, ceiling panels in their college? Why?
Well, let's be honest. A lot of people in college do a lot of interesting
yes,
things.
that is true. Yes. And substances make it even more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, Dax is showing me one. Oh my gosh.
Can I see?
So all of the ceiling panels, yeah, I'll have to show you after.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Gosh, like
Yeah, that's the one
yeah.
I
So
saw.
And
just
then there
for
are
just
some-
for the audience listening, it literally looks like a demolition crew went through that hallway.
yeah, so
Yeah, half
basically
of the
they
ceiling's
broke
gone.
out the ceiling panels
Yeah.
and they smashed lights. There are some rooms that the entire building had to be evacuated. Like the students,
Mhm.
they had to find new housing for over 300 students.
Oh, my
Who were
Lord.
displaced because of the craziness.
Yeah.
Those people that were standing on the roof, that roof did collapse.
Oh.
And so they caused, I don't even want to know how much
That's-
property
that's a
damage
lot of
on
money.
private property.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
that's
that
even
wasn't
worse.
owned by the school, that was private property.
Oh, that's even
Ooh.
worse. That
So-
is. Oh.
I cannot comprehend.
Yeah, I don't get party schools like at all.
No.
Yeah. I like at that point. Why even be a school?
Right.
You know?
Like I don't. I've always been more academically inclined,
Yeah.
and I can sort of see the appeal of big parties, sort of. Like
Mhm.
I know it's not my scene, but I
Yeah.
can kind of understand it. I cannot understand like the trashing stuff.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Where for me it crosses a line is like I get going to a party like on a Friday night, whatever, go have fun.
Yeah.
But when you get to the point where it's just where it delves into destruction and then
Like fights and whatnot.
yeah, like destruction, fights, and then when it gets to the point that it's like there's tons of substances being used and people doing, these utterly insane things. Like at that point for me, it's not fun. Or when it's an environment or a school that it happens every single day, then it's like, nah. For me at that point, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Right, or like even like every weekend, I feel like would be a lot, but
yeah. Or I mean, there are some schools out there that like if they have that kind of culture in them, that they don't need an excuse to have a party. Like they'll have a party because it's Tuesday.
Yeah, this is not really related to what you brought up. It's only connected because it's also St. Patty's Day stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that Chicago had dyed its river green.
Yeah, it's a yearly thing out there.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until this year though, and so
I'm being I'm being cautious with my mentions of the city because Dax banned me from talking about that city.
I did not ban you from talking about Chicago. I banned you from talking about
when you were going to that concert,
which was in Chicago.
Yeah, but you have that is now passed.
Okay.
So
okay.
I think you're okay.
Okay, ban lifted. But I'm still going to be careful because
you're allowed to talk about Chicago. You just aren't allowed to talk about the concert.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, I was wondering what exactly is in the dye because people were making jokes of like,
oh yeah,
like I hope the fish are okay after we turn the river into Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Or I did see some memes of it's like point of view. It's like fish after they dye the Chicago River green.
Yeah. I have not been able to figure out what it is now, but I found out that prior to definitely the 90s, as in like this is definitely used then, but I don't know when they switched to whatever they're currently using. Originally they used an oil-based fluorescent dye.
Ooh.
And environmentalists proved that it was toxic to the river, and so they switched to a plant-based dye.
Oh, okay.
They won't say anything more than just plant-based from what I can see. But yeah, so they don't use oil and fluorescent anymore.
That's the key words, anymore.
Yeah. That river is also, it's kind of like the Hudson. It is very polluted. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely when I was out there, I mean, I loved it out there, but then because most of the subway stations are above ground, but there are a couple that are underground. Those ones, like, I don't know if you ever saw the Joker movie and everything had this, like, dirty, grimy aesthetic.
Yeah.
It was exactly like that, like one of the underground stations coming in, and the tunnel was painted white, but you could see all of the soot.
Oh, yeah.
Like all over the walls. And I was just like, oh, this is. And like the city, like that's a city smell. Like Denver doesn't really have that smell. No, Chicago did. Like when we came back, like even though we had showered and everything, like the first thing that my dad says, like the second, because he actually picked me and my friend up from the airport.
Yeah.
He was just like, dude, you still smell like it. I'm like, oh,
crud. Yeah. The other thing, I did go to New York once. I understand the subway thing.
Yeah.
You can tell how close you are to Grand Central by how like much they are pretending to take care of their subway system.
Oh, okay.
Like around Grand Central, they will actually pick up trash. And, like, you know, there's people mopping and whatnot.
Yeah.
The further north you get, the more they clearly have not fixed tile. They clearly have not been cleaning as much.
The more it has that, like...
Yeah.
I just want to call it the grimy look.
Yeah, which you could make a whole lot of statements about that, because the more north you get, the more, like, less touristy you get.
Yeah.
So... You can make several statements about that.
I'm broken, though, because I went to Berlin and I rode on the U-Bahn, which is their underground train system. And it's beautiful. It's perfect. And I could never... Like, I don't think I could go to New York and ride their subway system and not just be insanely disappointed. I mean, like, even London's underground.
Yeah.
Where people are notoriously drunk and, you know.
Yes.
But it was actually really nice going on the London Underground.
So my grandpa, who is an interesting guy, I love him so much, but he has very interesting hobbies. One of his favorite things to do is to watch this one guy who just does walkthroughs of places in Japan.
Yeah.
So he just has like a GoPro on and
Yeah,
he just like
and just
walks through
around.
streets.
Yeah.
A while ago, I was watching a little bit with him, and I was like, "Oh, do you know where he is?" And he goes, "Ah, well, wait a second." And then he's like, "Well, the train station had this amount of stripes and is this color,
Yeah.
so I think they might be in this section, but I don't know where exactly." He's never been to Tokyo.
Yeah.
He doesn't read Japanese, but he can kind of understand where in the city you are, just because their rail system is so good. It's very, very clear on where you are. It's color coded.
Yeah.
There's like stripes that indicate
it
whether or
could
not.
be clear. Have you seen the map of the Tokyo subway system?
It's a lot.
something.
It's intimidating.
But it's intimidating, but there is a system, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and they have like a stripe system for like whether or not they'll be going out of town.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's pretty robust
yeah,
then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then once you understand the system, it's like the ease of use is so.
Yeah.
The one thing about it though is there is no such thing as there are too many people on this train.
Oh yeah,
They
no,
will
I do
just
know that
shove
they will
more
just
and
shove
more.
people in
Yeah.
Get
there.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that concludes that conversation. Let's let them get back to some music before the top of the hour.
Yes, we will let them get back to some music before the top of the hour here on
Thanks for
Ames.
repeating me, Josh.
I'm tired, okay?
You've had how much caffeine?
That's the thing. I can't have any more because if I do, that will not end well.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, so I have to make do with what I got. But we will let it get back to the music here on Ames Student Radio. Enjoy.
You're listening to Ames Student Radio. It's Kion and Dax here. Josh had to go to a meeting, so I'm in charge now.
Yeah, and I've decidedly am not doing the weather because I have a fun habit of just saying the same number when
Yeah.
it is not.
He'll
the
just say,
same
yeah,
thing.
I don't think that's
Yeah.
the greatest idea ever. But anyway, in Fort Lupton, it is 61 right now with a high of 64 and a low of 31. In Loveland, it is 60 with a high of 63 and a low of 35. In Windsor, it is 62 with a high of 65 and a low of 33. And here in Greeley, it is 63 degrees. 67 is the high and the low is 32. No wind right now, and it's sunny. It's too warm.
Yeah, I know it is spring now, but it's like we said earlier in our show. I am frightened by the lack of snow that we have had and the lack of cold.
I know, I'm very upset about it. I clearly love the Colorado wildflowers because of my tattoos, you know.
Yeah,
The Colorado wildflower. I want them.
yeah.
This is my last spring in Colorado. I need the
It's mine too,
flowers.
technically.
Oh my gosh, we're both going to be in England next spring.
That
That's
is weird.
wild.
That's weird to think about.
Anyway, I am very upset about the change in the weather. It's
Yeah.
too warm. I'm uncomfortable about it.
That's why I'm going to move somewhere else, so I won't think about how it used to be different there, because I won't know what it was like before.
Oh, you'll know. So in England, none of the buildings have air conditioning.
Oh, I'm aware.
And let me tell you,
I'm going to die, yeah.
those buildings are so warm.
Yeah.
I'm purposely working in a hospital because those are the buildings with air conditioners. I'm not
yeah.
going to do it to myself. No thanks. Yeah, and you're going to probably be working in some fancy new
I mean, eventually.
equipment place.
But before that, I'm probably just going to be, part-timing it up at some random coffee place or something.
I don't trust
So-
you with coffee makers. I think
Do you
what-
trust me in doing retail?
I was going to say reception work.
Oh, no.
Easy. It's easy.
Reception, okay. I am currently at a retail job. I really don't mind doing inventory and all of that. I could do storehouse part-time until I graduated,
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I would not trust you with those coffee machines though.
that's very fair.
Having worked at a coffee shop,
I will burn my hand.
yeah, for sure. I'm not
Yeah.
going to let you touch my little tiny pathetic one.
That's very fair.
Speaking of which, I never cleaned the nozzle on it yesterday after making the coffee. I just realized. I put it in a cup of boiling water,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Cool.
Thanks.
Okay. So, do you have a water bottle or something that is meant for your work? Like
Yeah.
a specific one that is to and from work?
Yeah, and I actually left that and my lunchbox at work, and I'm very, very upset about it.
Okay, great. That's a great follow through then. At my work, we have a little break room area. It's got a little fridge, little table, you know, the little sink. And we have our coffee maker there. And a few of us just leave mugs there, so then that way we don't have to bring in our own coffee mugs.
Right.
This is my dad's business, and so the other day, my father finally brought home one of his mugs, and I was frightened. It's supposed to be a white mug. It was not. This is fully just me dissing my father for not just cleaning the cup, but the thing about it that made me think of it is like it was clean. He washed it there, but like it was so stained that he had to bring it home so it could be bleached. Like he was cleaning it, but it was like getting bleached.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I did text some of my coworkers being like, hey, I'm really sorry. That's my lunchbox there. Just throw it under the nurse's station. It's fine.
Everything's fine.
I feel bad. This is now the second week in a row that I've left my water bottle there.
You know me. I'm so good at leaving my water bottle.
Yeah,
places.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's like my work water bottle and it just has water in it.
Yeah.
So, and everybody at this point knows that black water bottle is mine. So it's
they don't
whatever.
touch it.
Yeah, I do feel bad for leaving my lunchbox though. It has a single orange left in it.
A yummy snack for when you go back to work.
Yeah.
That will definitely not be rotten and bad.
I don't think it will, actually. I think it'll be fine. It wasn't quite ripe yet. That's why I didn't eat it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it'll actually be perfect when I get there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, I don't work Friday. Never mind.
Oh, you don't work Friday?
I go skiing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where you go ski?
I don't know yet.
Oh.
Depends on how the snow is. And if the roads
are
open.
still snowy.
Yeah.
All the snow
find
might
out.
be gone by then.
Not unlikely.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit terrified about the lack of winter. I'm going to keep going back to that.
Yeah, I never know what to say when people are like, yay, it's warmer out. Because, like, technically speaking, I'm not against it being warmer. I'm not, against that completely. However, it's hard to iterate, like, yeah, I'm very scared about our current climate and all of that. That's really freaky to think about when it's like I'm in a checkout line and they're just trying to make conversation like, oh, it's warm out,
Yeah.
Like, I never know what to say. Like,
yeah, I'll be helping people get dressed in the morning and they're talking about, yay, it's warm out. And I'm like, no, this is bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to let you guys get back to the music. We'll have more things to talk about when Josh gets back. Go visit the puppies in
Yes.
the student. Wait, what time does it end?
I think they said one.
I think. No, it just ended. Never mind.
No. So sorry.
My deepest condolences. The dogs are gone.
Oh.
They might still have some food or something.
Yeah.
Over there, though.
Go check the student commons. They might have leftover food.
I know that they do have some other stands hanging out over
Yeah.
there. So I know that there's one that's like passing out Narcan and such.
Yeah.
Go get yourself some Narcan. Stick it in your bag. You never know when it would come in useful.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Anyway, we'll let you guys get back to the music with Let Her Cry.
And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh here, with Dax and with Kion.
And we are very prepared.
And we are very, very prepared.
Oh, yes. We know what we're doing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I just totally realized I just pulled out some of the acquisitions out of my backpack, and I need to put them back in.
What? Oh, your mini energy drinks.
They're not mini. Well, the Red Bull
Many.
Okay, I was like these aren't mini.
Not many, yes, several. More than one of. Yes.
I know my English somewhat.
Okay. So I tried to do German for like 3 years, and you and our other friend Rory really want to learn Dutch. I'm so bad at languages. I'm so very bad at languages. The only class I ever failed pre-high school was Spanish. I'm really, really bad at learning languages.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I am not very good at English.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I just have a dead weight tongue.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot. This is my one tone. This is my one inflection. I cannot do accents. I cannot pronounce things. So, yeah.
No, I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
You know?
But I always think it's funny because, like, I could write German fairly well for a while I was in the class.
Yeah.
Could I say any of it?
No.
Nope. Not at all.
You know,
But-
I took French for 6 years. And could I still somewhat fumble my way through it? Yeah. Could I write it? No.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Like back then, yeah, I probably could write it, but nowadays I'm like, no, I can't.
Right. I think it's been so long since I've done German now that I think at this point I'm probably back at square one. Like, I could identify that you are speaking German.
Yeah.
And if you talked really slow and really stupid, I might be able to figure it out, but
I am a big fan of trying to speak like a mixture of German and English with my friend's mom. Denglish.
Although I
yes.
will say it's like I can hear Dax's laptop kind of turning into a jet.
Oh, are you playing Sims again?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Please don't. Is there anything underneath your laptop?
I was gonna say, please, I don't
Yes.
want to.
No, I could fry an egg on it though. It's fine.
Yeah, don't put the plastic binder in here underneath that.
Yeah,
you will melt
under-
that binder.
Yeah, no, we don't.
You're gonna melt something.
Me.
It's fine.
Yeah, we don't need the toxic fumes.
You don't need the toxic fumes.
I don't need the toxic fumes. My
Speak for
lungs would be
yourself,
like,
man.
no.
But
It's not the toxic fumes. It's the caffeine fueled fumes.
no. Coffee smell is one of the best things ever. Like,
True.
There's been several times that I like go to Human Being because my mom's driving there, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna be good. I'm not gonna get a coffee.
You're like, I'm gonna be a good
Yeah.
Kion.
Coffee makes me feel bad and oh no, I shouldn't drink a coffee. And then I smell the coffee smell and go,
And you're like,
oh.
ooh.
Mhm.
Whereas me,
And
it's
then I get
like,
a coffee.
Whereas me, it's like caffeine keeps me alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Oh, Dax is now gone.
Dax gave me the.
No,
Da-
I'm chilling.
Dax
Okay.
is now in Sims Land, I think.
I'm in Sims Land.
Simslandia.
While drinking a Red Bull, a sugar-free Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
Is Dax gonna finish that sugar-free Red Bull?
Oh yeah, maybe. We'll find out.
I was gonna say because when we first started this show, there was the one that Dax did not finish.
So today is the 19th.
Yes.
And the one place I want to be right now is not in class. It's not even here as much as I love being on the radio. I want to be home playing Stardew Valley.
Stardew just.
I saw that.
updated.
I saw the update.
Please.
My buddy, she already got the update, and she was just like, "Look, I got the update." And I'm like, "Okay,
I need to
update my
so
Stardew."
bad. But I'm very, very sad because for some reason I thought this was a late game update. And so I started a new save with the purpose of trying to speed run to get like all of the good stuff.
Yeah.
And then like, be ready for late game things.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is a revamp of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Including a new farm layout of which you can only select in the beginning.
Yeah.
That looks really good. It looks really good. It's a meadow.
Yeah.
And so it's perfect for having animals, and you don't have to buy as much grass and hay. It's perfect. And I am so sad because I don't want to restart. I already put 55 hours on my new save. I'm not doing it again yet.
Yeah.
So,
I have my sim.
yes. Hey Dax.
Yeah.
how many hours do you have in The Sims?
I'm gonna say 2,000.
Not quite.
You're not that far off though.
About 1,100. The update that just came out for The Sims broke everyone's hours, so it was only showing last night that I had 200 hours, and everyone was freaking out because we're like, "Where are all my Sims hours?" Yeah,
my trophies. Yeah,
exactly. My trophy of spending way too much of my life on this game. Here's the problem, though. This is my second Sims game.
Account.
Yeah. So my first one, I don't even know what happened to it, but something happened where it was no longer linked to my email. There was like no evidence that I ever had it, kind of a thing.
Oh no!
Like it was a legally owned copy of The Sims too. Like I don't know what happened to it. My mom had to call Origin because I was like 12.
Yeah.
And I was so sad about it.
Yeah.
That it went goodbye, but I had like over 1,000 hours on that one as well.
Oh dang.
Yeah, my mom called Origin the first time to fix it, and then they got it fixed, and then it happened again, and I just gave up and bought a new copy on a better email, or like on the email that I had full access to.
Oh,
because there was something about that email where I didn't have full access. I don't remember why, but
Interesting. Maybe it was like a school email or something.
no, I think that it was like my childhood email, and I don't think it was on Gmail.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that messes stuff up just a
Yeah.
little bit.
That'll do it.
I really both do and don't want to know how many total hours I have in Minecraft. There is no way to check how many hours you have played in total on an account.
Okay.
And I really wish I could check it, even though I'm very afraid of what that number would be.
Yeah, I know mine's spread across different platforms. So,
yeah, too.
like, I know
you
I
could
have
probably check it if it's on like console.
Yeah, well, Xbox is kind of weird because they don't really give you a lot of information as to how much time you spend on a game. PlayStation has started to do it.
There
on
is
the
a way
PS5.
to. I could show you technically.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Because
yeah.
I know if I play anything on Game Pass on PC, I know then it does tell me.
Yeah, if you have Xbox Live, it will tell you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you have that?
Yeah, I was gonna say if
Yeah.
anything right now, it would probably be telling me you've spent way too much time in F1 the last month, and I'm like, yeah, because it's fun.
Yeah.
Like last night, because if you play the solo mode in F1, they rotate the tracks that you can do your daily races on.
Yeah.
And yesterday, one of the tracks was Las Vegas. And I'm not kidding you. I did a race on that track 10 times.
Huh.
Like that track, I mean, obviously people know now my favorite track in the game, but since it rotates, I don't get it every single day. So every day that I do get it, it's like, oh, I'm going to go until I'm tired. And it's like, oh, I'm just going to do 10 races. And then it was funny because even the commentary will kind of note, because I wasn't really gaining a lot of other positions or beating other cars in the game.
Right.
And like the commentator will make like kind of a funny remark. It's just like you've spent a lot of time here. We expect a better position. And I'm like, I'm not really trying to really win the race here because AI is mostly I'm just driving around because I'm like, ooh, I know all these places.
Yeah.
That's most of the time what I do on that track, because half the time the AIs are psychotic, so I'm not beating them.
Yeah.
So it's just like, bro, I know I'm not going to win this race.
You're
I'm
not
trying
gonna
to
beat
drive
the computer,
around.
yeah.
I just want to drive around the strip because I know in real life I would never be allowed to do this.
Right.
Because I don't have an FIA super license, and honestly, no one would ever let me go anywhere near the wheel of an F1 car.
That's so fair. Going back to the
Although
hours
that would be
thing,
cool.
though, the reason that it bugs me that you can't find it though for a Minecraft
Yeah.
is like Minecraft is now owned by Microsoft, and technically speaking, Microsoft, if you have Windows 10 or 11, will track your usage on apps.
Yeah.
And so it is tracking how often I have Minecraft open,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't find where it's tracking it.
Yeah.
And so that's bothering me.
No, that makes sense, because I mean, if
Yeah.
they track everything on there, it's just like, oh, so you're probably tracking that I'm always on Discord. You're probably tracking that I'm on Messenger or
Spotify.
Spotify.
Yeah, that's like their whole thing. That
Yeah.
they...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder where they store that data. Like,
Yeah, I saw there was a way to clear your history from your device, but I couldn't find a way to view my history on my device.
Oh, no.
So, yeah,
what's even the point then?
right.
Yeah.
Like, why are you keeping all my data if
Yeah.
you're not gonna let me see it?
I want my Spotify Wrapped of how many hours I've spent in Minecraft this year. How many blocks did I place in 1 month, you know?
Ooh.
Oh God.
Too many is the answer.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
want to know that answer about you, actually.
The bigger problem is actually how many blocks did I mine. For some reason, I'm real big into I'm just
Digging
gonna
pits.
I'm just gonna dig real big holes, just one real big quarry, no reason, just
dig. Just dig.
that ground is gone now.
Yeah, on my main desktop at home, I was doing I was trying to build like basically kind of like a 4-pronged building.
Mm-hmm.
And I only got like the base level done like the last time I was on there, and then it got really busy at work, so I couldn't jump on it anymore. And actually that just triggered it in my head. I'm like, wait, I haven't built anything on this one in like a week. Like, what am I doing?
On Minecraft?
Yeah.
Josh
But also-
plays Minecraft?
Yes.
Josh plays Minecraft?
I don't do survival mode. I just do creative and build stuff.
I do what I like to call cheaty survival, which is essentially I'm playing survival, but if I get sick of like gathering materials, I'll be like, I'm just gonna give me the rest of it. I did some material gathering, that's good enough. So
Yeah, no, I can't do survival mode. For me, I'm just gonna build stuff.
that's fair. That's fair.
That
Yeah, I
fan
know.
is still going.
Don't
it won't
don't
stop.
worry
My
about
fan
her.
on my laptop is absolutely tiny, and
She has to work overtime.
yeah,
Dang.
Yeah.
and I play more Sims on my computer than I should. But this microphone,
That poor
is,
laptop.
this
Yeah, that microphone wants to go places.
It's making fun of me for being short.
It is.
It's trying to tell me that I need to be like V levels of tall.
I was about to say, or what if
Like-
it's just V just transmuting from beyond, just being like
Oh yes.
from
yeah.
beyond.
From
V's
Tennessee.
not dead.
from Tennessee then.
Yes.
From beyond the borders of this fishbowl.
the mystical underlands of Tennessee. Yes.
Yes.
Right. This segment's devolving.
So quickly.
We are.
I think we need a reset.
Yeah,
We
we
do.
need a reset.
We need a
to
reset.
just- yeah, Josh, please play some music for the people.
Yes. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.1, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, here with Dax and with Kion.
Hi.
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 Dax is excited.
Yes,
Why
Dax is super
Why
excited.
are you excited, Dax?
The last season of Young Royals just came out.
On Netflix?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I've literally never heard of the show until right now. The only, British show I think I watched on Netflix
It's
was The
not
Crown.
British.
Oh, it's not?
Swedish. It's not even in English.
Oh, never mind.
It's such a good show. It's such a good show. I cannot wait for the final season. I have been waiting for it.
It is now here.
It is now here.
This is the final season.
I am going to binge it when I get home. Yes.
Are you certain it is?
Oh yeah.
Say, how many
Okay.
episodes does it have? Or for the
6.
final season? Oh, 6? Or is it like one of those shows
Oh.
where it's like 6 episodes, but each episode is like an hour plus?
Each first episode is 44, 47, 46, 48, 49, 57.
Oh, okay.
They're just
Can-
like an hour.
Can we
easy.
have a conversation about that actually? That sounds like a fun topic.
Oh.
About like how shows are like getting like more like less screen time essentially.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a season of shows
Mm-hmm.
for like let's use Star Trek as an example because
Yeah.
it's one I'm familiar with. The original season, like the original Star Trek,
Yeah.
I believe there was like I have a spreadsheet somewhere that has all of this, but
Yeah.
I believe the original season of the original show was like 20 episodes.
Yeah.
And they were like 30 minutes each. And then the second season they upped it to like 50 or something like that because they
Yeah.
realized how good it was.
Mm-hmm.
And like but both of the earliest 2 iterations both had like I think at one point they had like 70 episodes
Yeah.
per season. and then the newer ones, and they were not short. They were like, at least 30 minutes. Some of the big ones would be double parters.
Yeah, you'd have like your
that
2-part episodes in there.
Yeah. But like almost all of the new ones are like, you get 6 episodes and they're an hour long.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about it, is that is 6 hours, but 50 times 30 is a lot more than 6 hours. So
a lot of shows that air on regular TV tend to have like longer seasons. Like if you watch shows on like ABC or CBS, like, stuff like The Good Doctor or Grey's Anatomy on there,
Chicago
like
Med.
all the Chicago shows, because they have like
any
4
of the
them now.
3-letter government organization
a
shows.
lot of those shows, like their seasons, they'll be like 20 plus episodes.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of those are a different conversation of like rehashing a like tropey show. I feel like that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that I am thinking about is how all of the newer Star Trek stuff, meaning from like post Deep Space Nine. I think I said that wrong. So sorry.
No, that was
fans.
Deep Space Nine.
Okay. Basically, all of the ones post that were when people stopped using things like recording on VHS or like what was that called, TiVo, stuff like that.
Yeah, or TiVos.
Yeah, and they started having like streaming services and like the ability to have all of it in one sitting.
Yeah,
and binge it versus watching it slowly over time.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest contribution is the streaming services.
The thing that, and it's always going to be a double-edged sword for me, because while I like the fact that, like, if a season comes out of a show, you can binge it, at the same time, the wait for it just feels that much longer. Because, like, for example, like, I'll use Stranger Things, because that's, like, the biggest show Netflix has. It's like you wait, 2 or even 3 years sometimes for a new season to come out, and it's like, oh, it's 8 episodes.
Yeah.
You binge that in a day, and it's like, oh, gotta wait another 3 years for another season. Like, right now, they're finally filming the final season.
Yeah.
But a lot of that, like, these last 2 seasons have been delayed so much because of COVID, and then also, too, because a lot of
the strike.
The strikes, and then also the fact that a lot of the cast is doing a lot of other things right now.
Right.
It takes them forever to finally get the whole cast together to film a season, and then all the VFX work that goes into that show. It's like, oh yeah, they filmed the live action stuff, 2 years ago, but we have to wait for all the VFX to get done, so that's another year, and then finally it comes out. So that's always kind of a thing.
Really, really, really think that if shows tried to go back to use more practical effects, Jim Henson puppeteering, Star Wars level like costuming.
Yeah.
I really think if they went back to more practical effects, that would fix so many of our issues on that regard. Because don't get me wrong, I am not against CGI. CGI has gone so far and it looks so good and you can do so many cool things with it.
Yeah.
I think the problem is we have forgotten that we have other tools on our belt.
Yeah.
We're not utilizing the other things that we can do,
Yeah. But you are also kind of running into kind of a double-edged sword there as well, because now there aren't nearly as many practical effects houses as there used to be, and the really good ones are always booked because some of the shows that still prioritize more practical effects, like for example The Last of Us, they used CGI for the background.
So good.
They used a lot of CGI for the background, but a lot of the makeup for the infected was practical, which is what made it so terrifying.
I'll be so real. The main reason I watched The Last of Us was because I wanted to see their practical effects.
Yeah, and they used a lot of it for like the scenes where it really mattered.
Were very, very realistic, and they did a lot of it. Like, it's not computer generated.
Yeah,
I think that's why I like live theater so much, honestly.
Yeah,
and like the more realistic stuff. I'm not a big I'm not a big sci-fi fan anyway.
See, I do like sci-fi, but you don't have to have a huge reliance on it.
Yeah.
Going back to like the original Star Wars, I mean, they didn't really have a whole lot of computer effects then yet.
Yeah, because they basically with
So-
Star Wars they kind of had to invent.
Yeah.
it.
And they there wasn't a choice to have people like have like CGI animation. They
Yeah.
had to all be costumed. And because of that, I think that's the only reason they have kept people costumed.
Yeah.
Because now it's going to be a problem if you try to have a CGI character with
Yeah.
the real cast.
Or
you know?
I was gonna say, have you seen any of the Dune movies, the new ones, not the '80s
No,
ones?
I've not yet.
So those movies are kind of like an example of kind of how to do both right, because with those movies they do a lot of live action shooting and they do a lot of practical effects, and then they only use CGI when it's literally something that they can't do, you know,
Right.
practically.
Right.
Like the sandworms, like not really spoilery because it's in the trailers, but there's a scene in Dune Part 2 where they ride the sandworms. Like they tried to do as much of that practically as they could, you know, filming the actors like riding, you know, a pretend sandworm, but then obviously they use CGI for the parts that they can't do. But there's a really cool blend, and you can see a lot of the behind the scenes work that they used actual sets for a lot of the stuff in the movies, and they didn't just CGI like the whole thing, which is also I think what makes those movies look so cool. Over spring break I did go watch Dune Part 2, and that was utterly insane. And then going back and looking at all the behind the scenes stuff and seeing just how much of it they actually filmed like on actual sets was honestly really cool. And then this past week was the Oscars, and the winner for best visual effects was actually Godzilla -1, which
That clocks.
it was a
guess.
shocker because that movie's total budget was about $15 million for the whole movie.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie
Yes.
solely because, like, the reason I was so excited for it is yes, I like the games, yes, all of that, yes, it is very meant for people who've played the games. I don't think anyone who hasn't played the games would enjoy the movie at all.
No.
However, that being said, I think the best thing they could have possibly done for that movie was hire Jim Henson Company.
Yeah, because a lot of the
Those-
practical effects was like, whoa.
Those puppets, those animatronics looked so good.
Oh,
They
yeah.
looked wonderful.
They did, yeah.
I was
Like,
gonna say you could tell where most of the money went there.
oh yeah. And that they didn't have a very big budget though.
No,
Like I think they barely broke like 10 mil.
Yeah, they which was kind of surprising because you would think a movie like that would get, you know,
Right.
like a huge budget. But the thing is with Blumhouse movies, because Blumhouse is the ones who made it,
Right.
their big philosophy has been giving you get a small budget if you do a Blumhouse movie, like not very big at all, but you get that creative freedom.
Right.
So you kind of get this blend where it's like, oh, you get like an ambitious director, but you give them the freedom to do, you know, what they want with their
Right.
movie. And also kind of A24 kind of has that streak kind of going for them as well, where they you won't get like a huge budget to shoot a movie like Dune if you're working for A24. But you are going to get the freedom to do what you want.
I think part of my problem with effects is very frequently it's just a price tag.
Yeah.
You know, like my example there is the more recent Avatar movie.
Yeah.
I don't mean the Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix. That's a whole
No,
other
you mean
bucket
like
of worms.
the blue people?
Yeah, the Blue People movie. First of all, I don't think anyone remembers the first one, like the plot of it, like at all. Second,
It's basically Dances with Wolves, but with aliens.
yeah. But like almost everything that was said about that movie was said solely about the graphics.
Yeah, Avatar, and I mean, I went to see both in 3D. The thing with those movies is, how do I say this? You don't really remember much of the story.
Right.
Those are movies that you go to see, you know, like a very high tech visual effects movie.
Right.
Although now we're kind of getting to this weird point because a lot of scenes in the Avatar movie, like the trailer, they at least showed it at your typical theatrical presentation, which is 24 frames per second, but they filmed the movie itself at a high frame rate.
There we go.
But the problem there is, while it looks kind of cool, instead of looking like a movie, it looks like a video game, especially like the big action sequences. It's like, am I watching a movie or am I watching a cutscene in a video game?
Yeah, when you start hitting a certain frame per second, first of all, we cannot really see more than, I think it's like 80. We can't like differentiate past that. So it might be lower, actually. I don't remember.
I think it's 80 because once you get to like, because most games try to go for 60 frames a second. Obviously, you get like nowadays you get a trend where you get some games that their big thing is, especially if it's a really action-based game, where it's like, oh, you can play at 120 frames a second, which is cool. You know, obviously all the movement is really fluid, but like, after a certain point, your eye can't really tell.
Yeah. You start to get into like motion blur and whatnot, and you don't want that in a movie or a game. Like that's going like it's a neat effect, sure.
With the game, it really depends on, I feel like, the type of game that it is. If you're trying to make like a graphical masterpiece of a game, like a movie game like The Last of Us or a Red Dead, then at that point, you know, a 30 frame at 30 frames, you know, it looks cool. I mean 60, because with The Last of Us, you can actually play part 1 and 2 on the PS5. You can play them at 60 frames, and from a gameplay perspective, like if you're actually doing a mission where you're in a firefight or something like that, then okay, the 60 frames actually works really cool for that, because it makes the combat, you know, the flow of the combat actually a little easier. But if you're trying to, but then when you get the cutscenes at 60 frames, at least for those games that are meant to show off like, whoa, look at these visuals, then it looks kind of weird.
Yeah, I think there's just too much emphasis on like, and I mean, it's not bad that there is things like, you know, Avatar that are like, look at this cool set that we built. Isn't that cool, guys? Like, I'm not dissing that, but I think it's a dangerous thing to be like, come look at our movie. It looks really cool, guys. Don't worry about any of the actual content in it. It looks pretty.
Yeah.
You know, like, a few of them here and there are fine because it keeps that spectacle going.
Yeah.
But it's dangerous to have that be the norm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which is kind of how do I say this? It is kind of that slippery slope, because like obviously you go to watch Avatar and the visual effects are ridiculous, but then I also like movies where really kind of the point is the practicality of it. So like I'll use Oppenheimer as an example. Like Christopher Nolan, his big thing is he pushes for practical effects like so as hard as he can. I mean, they literally figured out how to recreate the Trinity test. So the first test of an atomic weapon ever, practically, you know, no CGI nuke or anything. They figured out how to do it, and no, they did not detonate an actual nuke.
No, it was just like dynamite or something.
It was dynamite, and then they filmed it in such a way that you really got the scale of the explosion. But the big joke when they announced that they had recreated the test without CGI, a lot of people were like, okay, who let him drop a nuke? You know, that was always the big running joke.
My two go-tos for my current thoughts on effects and like visual means in films is Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And then what's it called? Jon Snow, Game of Thrones. Because obviously Lord of the Rings is an older series. It's based off a book, etc. Very similar setup for Game of Thrones, very similar setting. They both honestly look pretty similar.
Yeah,
like,
but also,
despite the fact that one is substantially newer.
Yeah.
Like, if you get like certain forest scenes and certain like when there's not a whole lot of magic on screen and whatnot, they look very similar. And I think that's a good thing.
They look similar, but also I will say this, even though the Lord of the Rings movies are all over 20 years old now, they still look, the CGI in those movies still looks better than even a lot of newer movies, but also too,
because they don't go over the top.
Yeah, with Lord of the Rings, like actually the Lord of the Rings movies had a big budget for their time.
Oh yeah.
But it's kind of minuscule actually, even compared to what the Hobbit trilogy got. So they had to be kind of creative with it, and they still really pushed like building real sets or using miniatures, and only using CGI when they absolutely had to, or if they had to use CGI, there was a practical base.
Hobbit might actually be a better comparison, honestly, just because it's like that's the main one where you see Schmeagol the dragon.
Yeah, when you see Smaug.
Smaug, sorry, yeah, Schmeagol's the goblin guy.
Yeah,
right. But because like obviously you're not gonna make a giant animatronic dragon for your movie.
Yeah.
Like that's not, you can't do that. And so you can have that kind of thing with CGI, and then you can have your very practical set, you can have your practical costuming, and you can make that look really, really good still. You don't have to rely solely on the CGI.
Yeah, with The Hobbit, there was some flack because some of the orcs, especially in the first movie, that one you can tell where like the CGI began and where the costuming ended.
Yeah.
They got a little better with the other movies, but there was kind of some flack for that. Whereas with Lord of the Rings, especially for the orcs, they used a ton of real makeup and prosthetics, which makes them look 10 times, scarier
and better.
So there was kind of that thing with The Hobbit, which was obviously like, oh, they got this way bigger budget because they knew they were going to get it back, of course. Yeah. But at the same time, you had kind of this thing where it's like, you guys had the money, you could have used real makeup.
Yeah. Or like, there's some costumings where it's like say you're going to do like a Medusa.
Yeah.
So you need her to have all her snakes and whatnot. You're not going to have like just a hat that moves on her.
Yeah.
That will look silly. So that makes sense to use CGI.
Yeah.
But does it make sense to have like her be like mo-capped?
Yeah.
Because then she will look superimposed on the scene. So I think it's just finding that balance,
Yeah, because a lot of times, how do I say this? If you use CGI to enhance a shot rather than create the whole shot, that's different. Like with The Last of Us, with the bloater, it was a real costume, but then certain things that the bloater does that you can't really do practically, then they use CGI. Like they use CGI to make it look a little scarier.
Yeah.
Like especially parts of it, that like the gills kind of that it has. They had to use CGI for
pulses.
those. Because it doesn't, obviously practically that's extremely difficult to do.
Right.
So they only use CGI to like enhance it rather than create the whole thing, which is what makes it look that much more frightening, because it's like, oh, there is a real guy in a real costume running towards you.
And I think where I see this the most is in set building.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time that's where people will get lazy. I see it the worst in like Marvel movies. So much of their backgrounds is just like computer generated buildings. And it like sometimes it's less notable than others.
It depends on the movie. Like the recent ones, and I think where they kind of got themselves into a kind of a dilemma is they had so many movies and shows all kind of being filmed at the exact same time that they really stretched their resources really thin there, because it's like, oh, we're filming 3 movies, but we're also doing 3 shows. Like you can only spread yourself so thin no matter how much money you may have. And that's really where I think a lot of the backlash from a lot of the movies kind of came from, because it's like
they tried to do too much.
They tried to do too much too soon. And granted, I mean, yes, we are, obviously
a lot
Marvel
of those
has
were
a huge fan
movies,
base,
but they could have been a lot better than decent if they would have only focused on a few of them rather than doing a ton of them.
Yeah, like right now, like of the most recent crop of Marvel movies, basically the one that had probably the best VFX was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah.
Like out of the newer crop of them, that's probably like the best looking one.
I would actually argue with you and say that the best one is the original Doctor Strange. Because
but that was still an older one. I mean, I'm talking about the latest, like the latest
newest
batch
saga?
of them.
Okay.
Yeah, basically like
Yeah.
post Endgame.
Yeah, gotcha.
Guardians of the Galaxy looked really good. Spider-Man: No Way Home looked really good. Well, mostly.
There were some good effects in there.
Yeah.
And there were some that were upsetting. So
Yeah, there was some cheese in there, but I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of like the better ones, I mean the original Doctor Strange, that was still pre, Endgame and all of
for
that.
that
so
saga.
yeah, but that obviously those ones are still, even to this day, they're utterly insane. Like I haven't seen anybody try to recreate those.
I really think that the Endgame and Infinity War do not look great. I really don't think they do. And I think that's just because so much of it is in like space and whatnot. And it's just like an overexposure to just the like random planets that aren't really fleshed out,
Yeah, that one what I think kind of doomed them as well is they were trying to do a lot, but also too, since they filmed both Infinity War and Endgame fully in IMAX.
Mm-hmm.
IMAX is such an extremely high resolution of camera
That's true.
that if you don't have
extremely high resolution.
if you don't have VFX that are up to par, it'll give the shot away right away, where you can tell like, oh, this is a CG. Like with Thanos, in a lot of the shots, you can tell like some of the lighting doesn't look right, or some of the shadow work doesn't look right. So it's like, even though he's walking one, he is, but everything else around him
isn't.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the problem, because rendering stuff at that high resolution, even with today's tech, still takes an extreme amount of time.
And that is why Into the Spider-Verse is the best thing that has ever happened ever, because they're not trying to be realistic. They're trying to be like the comic books, and so they can have like the person in the front is way more detailed than everybody else, because that's
a comic
you
book.
can do that in comics and in animation, but if you do it in real life, it doesn't look right. And this is my very short PSA on why animation is a better medium to showcase certain things. I wish people would take animation more seriously.
It really does need to be taken more seriously, and like show that animation isn't just a kid's thing. There's so much more than like my problem is there's, I'm gonna go back to it. I know we're kind of getting close to our time here, but like the Avatar Airbender movie and show, literally no one asked. The show looks great, the original. The animation carries so much emotion and color and vibrant, and it's just, you cannot convey the kind of like
purity that comes from the animation.
Oh yeah,
no.
No.
You cannot portray like certain things like Aang's expressions. Like you can't do that in real life.
Aang
and
is
even
such an animated character that he cannot be portrayed by a real human.
Exactly.
A lot of pretty much all the major characters have that thing that they have such animated faces and expressions that you can't do it in live action. And then also too, even some of the choreography of like a lot of the fight sequences, were based around like the character's emotion. Like Aang airbending, or as he gets later on the show, firebending, when he's in one mood as compared to another, they're like completely different styles.
Right. And it's cool to have that like lean on martial arts, and you can kind of portray that a little bit with live action. But
it's never going to be the same.
You don't really get the same level of emotion with it, though. Like you can get like the firebenders are based on like a very like Chinese style of martial arts, and then the earthbenders over here are based on this style from here. Like they very purposely chose those things, and you can have that in the show still. But it's very difficult to portray like this big fireball as a representation of all of my emotions. You know, you can't do that in practical as well.
Oh yeah.
So
like even like Zuko's firebending, like in the show, like in the earlier seasons, like there, because obviously he's still very hurt about what happened to him previously. Like there is some scorn in there. There is some venom in his firebending. and it does change a little bit as the show goes on, which makes sense because that's his arc. He does kind of get this redemption arc in there.
You can see how he is changing as a person based off of his like ability to do magic and fighting, essentially. And like you might maybe be able to pull off the fighting thing, especially for Zuko, just because he is a very like. He's one of the more sword-based characters.
Yeah.
But I think it would be really, 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 really hard to
in order to do it well,
that,
you would need to have somebody that is trained in the martial arts that can also act a full range of emotions.
Yeah.
And emotions, and that is not going to happen.
They did not do that at all. No.
Within the acting sphere that they're picking from, that's not going to happen.
The other thing is they made a ton of choices that are not great about the show. They're making a lot of changes that are really bad.
I saw two episodes and I was like, oh boy.
But that's a different topic of changing source material. But I think the main thing that they really missed the mark on is just you can't make it feel and look the same,
Oh yeah, no, because you really can't.
Yeah. But that has been my thoughts on practical effects, animation, and how long seasons should be.
Yes.
In summary, I want another 7 seasons of Avatar. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. That about does it here for our show today. It was quite a ride, quite a dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm. A lot of fire.
A lot of fire.
A lot of dumpsters.
A lot of fire. A lot of dumpsters, and we still
Kinda
have a cinnamon roll.
Yeah.
We still have a cinnamon roll in here.
Yeah. Joe, you didn't hear that. There is no food in here.
Yeah, there's no food in here.
No.
You heard nothing.
Right.
And we will be back next week. More chaos and more dumpster fire. But we do thank you all seriously so much for listening to our utter brand of chaos. And you all have a great rest of your day. This is AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. Up next, we got This Is Gospel by Panic at the Disco. Enjoy.